Hello, Evangelos. Greetings from Berlin. Guten Abend. You will be our first presenter of the second session, and you will talk to us about your project DeepSense, an ocean data analytics platform for partnership research. Partnership research is a lot of what we do and what we try to do through this conference. And in your presentation, you will talk about the glue that holds all together. And I'm really excited to learn more. And you have now 15 minutes to tell us what you do.
Thank you. Well, I will talk about DeepSense, a center for analytics in the ocean economy in the making. So I don't need to motivate DeepSense. The previous speakers did a great job of motivating the need for data analytics, the ability to manage and extract value from the data. So I would like to briefly highlight the expertise that is resident in our region here in Halifax and Atlantic Canada. We have several large industries of the ocean, large companies in the fishing business, the aquaculture business, shipbuilding, defense, offshore energy, and so on. So these companies are solving real business problems. They have large budgets, okay, and clients and so on. We also have in the region many world-class sensor companies that build specialized sensors for measuring different properties of the ocean, and Doug already alluded to that in his talk. These companies typically sell to university researchers. Okay, we also have expertise in ocean science, and Doug is a great example of world-class expertise in oceanography, marine biology, and also computing. We have the Big Data Analytics Institute in computer science, part of Dalhousie, and Stan Matwin, who I guess asked the question in the morning session. He is very active in several projects in the ocean data analytics space. Most of them, I guess, involving natural scientists. So this is a great picture. Is anything missing from that picture? Well, we conjecture that what is missing is a platform that will glue all these components together. So the small companies, SMEs, they now sell to the researchers. They would love to sell to the large industries of the ocean. They don't quite have a way. And what the small companies, the sensors produce is data, measurements, right? Raw data. What the big companies of the ocean want is business intelligence. They want to know how the data will impact their business, okay? So that's where the gap is, and ocean data analytics would help bridge that gap. So this is a schematic that sort of illustrates the different players, I guess. So what you have on the right are the large industries of the ocean, the fisheries, the aquaculture, defense, offshore oil and gas, insurance, the risk piece that was also mentioned in the morning in connection to icebergs, and policy and governance. So that's the blue piece. You have the green piece, a very important piece for us, which is the ocean science, the oceanography and marine biology people. Then we have IOR, which focuses on sensors and robotics. And we have all these yellow things that are projects either on the science side or on the application side. And what you have in the middle, the DeepSense piece, this orange piece, which is this platform that will glue the science with the application themes. So what is DeepSense? It's a platform. It is not like the platforms that were discussed in the morning. It's, I guess, a connection between people that would include project managers, software and hardware specialists, providing skills in analytics and the domain, the ocean domain, postdocs and graduate students. An advanced analytics environment that would be hardware plus software plus data, and the process that will put all these pieces together. So the project management piece, how do we do the recruiting and the matchmaking between the companies and the academics. Okay, so these organizations were already mentioned in the morning, IOR, building partnerships between marine researchers and companies. COVE, we are going to visit COVE in the afternoon. The Faculty of Computer Science and the Big Data Analytics Institute, and IBM, which is the main industry proponent on DeepSense, offering business expertise, channels for distribution of software of local companies to worldwide markets, and hardware and software tools. So how do all these pieces connect? So this is a diagram that shows OFI and CFREF. This is the major project that was recently funded. Doug Wallis talked about OFI in the morning. That's one piece, and what OFI will support is graduate students and postdocs working on the border between applications and science. COVE, the entrepreneurship piece that will provide the space and the resources to create these partnerships between the academics and the companies, small companies and large companies. IBM providing the hardware, the software, and the analytics expertise, and also CARET, an entity that involves all higher education institutions in Nova Scotia, including the universities and the Nova Scotia Community College, who focus primarily on training, but DeepSense will be open to any partners of CARET to join in and participate in projects. So DeepSense is the piece that connects all of these components, the OFI, COVE, IBM, and CARET. We are in the process of applying to ACOA, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, for funding, seed funding, to create this platform. And then what we are going to do next is, we already started doing this, talking to companies who are interested in having projects within DeepSense and taking advantage of the ecosystem and the facilities, hardware and software and expertise in analytics. So we expect to have both large ocean industries as well as SMEs, okay, each contributing according to their means and, I guess, and interests to these specific projects in DeepSense. And we're going to take advantage of the generous matching programs by the Canadian government, NSERC and MITAX, to leverage the dollars from the industry partners. So this is a diagram that kind of emphasizes the connection between the large industries of the ocean at the top and the SMEs, the sensor-based SMEs at the bottom, and having this analytics layer, ocean data analytics layer, which is DeepSense in the middle, bridging the gap. And this elaborates on what kinds of people will be included in DeepSense. We're going to have scientists who have expertise in the domain, okay, knowing the biology of scallops and salmon and how they grow and how changing climate conditions will affect their growth and how their habitats will migrate, perhaps, geographically. We are going to have graduate students and postdocs being involved in the research, and permanent, in quotes, people, software developers and managers and business development who will be part of DeepSense and helping bring software out of student thesis to commercial quality so that it can be shared with industry partners and have an immediate impact and a route towards commercialization. So this is more wording around these topics. What we expect DeepSense to achieve is accelerate commercialization in that space, help the small Canadian companies grow in connection with serving the needs of the large industry of the oceans, And this is not going to be just a local operation. There is a strong emphasis on partnerships between the local companies and the local expertise with international and national partners. So we could imagine, for example, German companies teaming up with Canadian companies and academics in these DeepSense projects. Okay. So we are going to visit Cove in the afternoon. This is a complex of buildings that are now empty, but they provide great space for bringing companies together to interact and exchange ideas and models of how to operate and innovate in that space. So Cove will have enough space for several of the small companies to completely migrate and be accommodated within the Cove buildings, as well as space for large companies who can have presence, have an office there, and be part of that mix. And DeepSense will be the ocean data analytics engine of DeepSense that can support analytics projects for all the companies that are within Cove. So one other point that doesn't show up in the slides is how will this collaboration unfold? Well, we expect to get companies, and we've already started connecting with companies who have an interest in being engaged with DeepSense, and then understand what are their problems, their scientific and R&D problems, and then seek ocean science expertise from within OFI or the international partners of OFI. So these projects in DeepSense will be driven by industry needs, and they will engage typically physical scientists, ocean scientists, and analytics expertise from the university, from IBM, and possibly from IT companies in the region who have an interest and experience in ocean data analytics in their prior work. So essentially, DeepSense will play the role of matchmaker, pulling these different, sources of expertise and problems in order to promote not just commercialization, but also support progress on the science front. Okay, because industries will bring problems that will need an advancement on the scientific front as well. So we don't see DeepSense and OFI as being two completely disconnected and separate entities. In fact, DeepSense will need the expertise from OFI and will build on it in order to make these industry-driven projects successful and having an economic impact as expected by the sponsors of DeepSense. So these are some projects, okay? One project is Google Maps, so mapping the habitats of different species that are important for the fishing companies. Okay, Google Maps of the seafloor and also the water column. Data science model for ocean acidification, already mentioned this morning by Doug. But now the question that we ask is, okay, how will ocean acidification and the changes in the physical properties of the ocean, how will those affect the habitats of species that are important for the well-being of this industry, plus the effort to feed the world, I guess, through fish-based protein. Vessel tracking analytics, already mentioned this morning, tracking fish, tracking boats who may be fishing, may be transporting goods or whatever. So how do we model the behavior of these boats? Some of the fishing boats may be fishing as they should be. Others may be doing funny maneuvers, okay, and maybe they're doing something illegal. Maybe they encroach on marine protected areas, okay? So how can we automatically analyze the data, the AIS data, and determine who is legal and who is not? And Stan Matwin already has a project in that space. And we can also think of smaller projects, for example, machine learning projects that will automate the exploitation of the data. So video data, for example, recognizing scallops on seafloor images, monitoring the behavior of fish in aquaculture. Okay, right now they have people looking through the images and the video, very labor intensive, extremely exhausting, okay, and possibly low quality because of the fatigue. We can automate all of these tasks by having machine learning process these images and come up with a high-level description of what is going on. So just to close here, there is a sense of urgency in putting DeepSense together. DeepSense aligns perfectly with both the federal innovation agenda in Canada. DeepSense addresses all 6 of the areas of action mandated by the new government, the new federal government in Canada. And also, it is one of the priority areas in the province. Okay, so a recent document called One Nova Scotia highlighted both information and communication technology as well as ocean industries as being 2 major areas of growth for the Nova Scotia economy. Okay, and DeepSense bridges the two, brings the two together, both the ICT piece and the ocean industry piece. And I have another link to Cove here that you will visit this afternoon. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. And
Evangelos. Evangelos, we will take 2 or 3 questions from here, and Hannes, please look out for questions in Halifax. I have a first question to you. When you talked before to the organizers of the concourse and to me, you said that you're still looking for partners also in Europe and Germany. And why is it that you think that these entities resemble ideal partners for future collaboration?
Well, that's a good question. Well, we expect that there will be exchange of ideas and technologies in those joint projects. So I'm pretty sure that Germany has relevant technologies that could serve the industry partners. Perhaps companies in Germany would find value in joining in with, say, Canadian companies in joint projects within DeepSense. So that's where we hope the synergies will come from.
Okay. And we will take up in the panel discussion later the topic of research, business angle. And I have another question here.
Yeah, Günther Tauer from the company TBS. Regarding data protection, how you will handle your cloud? Because from our experience, the German companies are very suspicious. And there is, so far as I know and remember, a European law or from the EU that the cloud has to be in Europe. That means a server for the data. So how you will handle it in your project?
This is a very good question because companies may bring data that they feel sensitive about. That's exactly why we have IBM in the mix, and DeepSense will have its own cloud infrastructure for storing and processing the data. In Canada, there is Compute Canada and AceNet, which is a federally funded entity to support academic research and high-performance computing services to researchers. So this is an open cloud. It's open to all academics in Canada. Also, it's open to international collaborators who collaborate with Canadians. So that's not the right kind of platform for DeepSense because of the presence of commercial data. Now, Canada versus Europe, in terms of the physical location of the data, that's something that we have to discuss on a project-by-project basis.
Thank you, Evangelos. Questions in Halifax?
Question over here. Yes.
So I still don't have a deep sense of what DeepSense is. Thomas Trappenberg again from Computer Science Halifax. So you're saying you can bring problems to DeepSense. So to whom do I bring it? So what will be the mechanisms to get this going?
Well, the way I see DeepSense is having the problems come from the industry partners, okay? And you just made a connection to a new company just in the break who are in the space of aquaculture and have an interesting video recognition problem to which your expertise can apply. So that's exactly how I see these connections evolving. In practice, we would have workshops that involve connections between industry partners and academics to create the environment for these synergies to come about. So this would be, projects would be industry driven, and we will seek the appropriate expertise, both on the computer science analytics side as well as the natural sciences side, to bring together. Okay, so we're talking about, say, habitats of scallops, right? So we can collect data about scallops and map the habitat and do all of that computational stuff, but at some point you need the marine biologist who understands how scallops grow, and the model for growth of scallops needs to be an integral part of this collaboration and the models. Okay, so that's how I see it happen.
Thank you. I have to look a little bit on at the time. I would take one other question in Halifax, and for other questions you have later on after the panel discussion to get back in touch with Evangelos.
There's no more questions here at the moment.
Okay, so thank you very much, Evangelos. A big applause from all of us.
Thank you.
And I'm inviting